Welcome back to a daily dose of good news. Today is a good day. No, scrap that. Today is a great day. Probably the best day you've ever had. And if you're honest, probably the best day you will ever have. You have managed to pull off the biggest deal in your company's history. You've scored a hat-trick at Wembley to win the FA Cup. You've given birth to twins after 6 miscarriages. You've discovered the vaccine for COVID-19. Things couldn't get any better. Let me tell you about some men who had their own greatest day ever and then walked away from it all. One day, as Jesus was standing by the lake of Gennesaret, with the people crowding round him and listening to the word of God, he saw at the water's edge 2 boats left there by fishermen who were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled to their partners in the other boats to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord. I am a sinful man." For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. And so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on you will catch men." So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything and followed him. Simon and his colleagues were fishermen. This was their trade, their life. They had probably had good days in the past, as well as bad days, as he recounts in this story. But today, under Jesus' instruction, they had their best day ever. They were astonished at the catch of fish. And when Jesus asked them to leave it all behind, they left it on the shore and followed Jesus. The catch of fish they had always dreamt of, the one that would be talked about for generations to come, meant nothing to them in comparison to following Jesus. I wonder what your catch of fish would be, that thing you've always dreamt of. Simon and his colleagues are telling you that following Jesus is of far greater worth than your greatest dream. See you tomorrow.